I'm so thankful to be here. I'm so honored. Social media is a beast because it makes you feel like you are best friends with people you ain't never met before. Like, I'm looking at y'all going, I'm best friends with her. She don't even know we best friends, but we best friends. I watched her baby be born, and now her kid is going to kindergarten because I am a stalker. I fly every weekend, 2 and 3 planes a week, and I am stalking you. And it is a beast, but it also has a problem because it will have you comparing yourself to people's highlight reel and wishing you were something that they are that they're not. The enemy is such a liar that he will make sure, even if you ain't following that broad, she got the perfect weave. She just had 3 triplets like 5 hours ago. And she is already in a 2-piece. And you're still trying to get your back boobs off from your 20-year-old child. And the enemy will make sure that you see that person that is the same age as you, that went to high school with you, or they didn't go to high school with you, but yet they're doing what you wish you could do. And you're over here watching this person birth the babies, got this weave that's flowing down, but you think it's real. It ain't real. Got these eyelashes that are like feathers, because now we've done moved to feather eyelashes. And I ain't gonna lie, I put them feather eyelashes on. They didn't last. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I can't handle that. But what happens is because society has told us that we got to be this way, or we got to finish this college, we got to go to this Bible school, we got to stay married this long. I'm not even going to lie to y'all. I probably drove my ex to drink. But see, in the body of Christ, we won't get real with what's really happening on the inside of us because we have made God like people. And so we walk up into these conferences this night, right here, in the next 30 minutes, when I tell you that God can zap you. I'm talking not just fix you on the outside with a Band-Aid, but I'm talking zap you. I'm talking in a moment. He can begin to take a 360 and just flip you around. And all of a sudden, you are walking out with a new fingerprint and a new facial. I'm telling you something. You hold on. The enemy has us holding on to bitterness and anger, and what we don't understand is, see, when God created Adam, he created Adam because he wanted to. He needed a golf buddy. But when he created Eve because he had to. Because we bring forth life. That's how come dissension, the enemy keeps us dissension between us. That's why we walk into a room and we see this long, skinny girl, and we look at her going, You done put a label on her, and she's probably needing a friend. But because society has told us that they look like this, or they look like that, or they look like this, because the enemy does not want us to get on the same page. See, let me just tell you something. I'm telling y'all, you can make or break a man. You can make or break this room. We got 1,200 women sitting in here. And one of you walk up in here bitter and angry and hateful, and we can feel you when you walk in a room. Because a woman's got some discernment. You can walk up in the room and you can sit there all you want. When God told me I'm calling you to women, I was like, hey, psych. I said, If they want to stay mad, they can stay mad. Because women, we are like Stefford, especially white women. We like Stefford housewives. We own the tennis club. And we are miserable. We are snatched on the outside and toe up on the inside. And everybody in our world is having to pay for the father that molested us at 4 years old. Everybody in our life is having to suffer because of that man that walked out on you with that best friend. When all along, it was the devil's setup to get you in hostage mode. You've been so messed up your whole life. Welcome to the club. In fact, look at your neighbor. She pretty. Tell her. Y'all better look at your neighbor. You better obey. I want you to look at her and say, girl, you fine. Girl, I saw your butt in them jeans. Girl, you fine. Some of you are like, I ain't telling her that. One thing that I've learned in life is that when the enemy's after you, it's a compliment. Some of you are like, I take 5 steps forward and 20 steps back. Every other month, you're getting on Facebook telling everybody, I'm doing a Facebook purge. If you don't hear from me, you've been deleted. Because I'm so tired of the drama. I'm like, girl, you are the drama. Because you know how I know this? I used to be her. I was angry. I was bitter. I didn't know it was because in 2006 I was going to hit rock bottom. And I was going to find out who the rock was at the bottom. I didn't know that whenever I hit that rock bottom and there was nobody in my circle any longer. I didn't realize the power that I had on the inside of me, and the enemy was trying to take me out because he knew one day, just as rebel as I was and rebellious as I was in my past life of 36 years, whenever I accepted Jesus into my heart and he came and lived inside of me, I was not going to care. Jesus is! I was going to be like telling everybody. And he didn't want me to get there. He knew that in 2006 I was going to have a shift in my life. I wasn't just going to go to church no more, sit on the pew. You know what I'm talking about. Now we all got these seeker-friendly churches, so we don't really fall out no more. But in my church, we used to fall out. But the problem with that is religion will have you falling to the floor and nothing happening. And I don't know about you, but I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. At some point in your life, this is why you can come to conference after conference after conference, and you never get changed. You know why? Because we as women are project fixers. We want it our way. In Ephesians 3:20, it says, I'm going to do exceedingly, abundantly more than you could ever ask or think. But we would rather stay over here in the comfort. We would rather stay with the wrong ones than the right ones. We have been praying for Boaz forever, but we won't let Bozo go. We're not even available for God to show us the red flags, because as he shows us the red flags, we're not even coming to the altar anymore for God to do anything in our life. Instead, we're up there going, get him, God! Instead of looking at ourselves and saying, this is a project between me and you, Jesus. Because the one thing that I discovered is people can't make you happy. Only God can make you happy. That man can't make you happy. That mama can't make you happy. That best friend can't make you happy. If I get a better job, I'm going to be happy. If I lose 40 pounds, I'm going to be happy. Have you ever noticed when you lose that weight, all of a sudden you still ain't happy? Or when God brings you your Boaz, you telling him every day, I don't need no man. And that submission word's a cuss word to us. We're like, we all of a sudden get Tourette's. My daddy didn't tell me what to do. My mama ain't gonna tell me what to do. He sure ain't gonna tell me what to do. And you know what I found? Y'all, I was so broken. Raised in a UPC family where they said if you get divorced, you're going to hell on a slip and slide. After 17 years of me telling him I don't need no man, guess what? I didn't have a man. Because that's what happens. All a man needs is honor, respect, love. But yeah, we're going in there. If he don't notice our hair, we put him in the guest room. You didn't notice I got my hair cut from my behind up to my shoulders? You can't notice. No, he's not your girlfriend. But see, what happens is the enemy's trying to take you out. And he's using your mouth. Because if he can take you out, he can take your family out. If he can take you out, he can take your kids out. If he can take you out, he can take your job out. If he can take you out, I'm telling you, you are the key. You are the fundamental key that is holding the glue to your side. I can't handle this. Give me a shot. Because somewhere in your life, you don't believe that you can handle it. But when God created you queen, he was creating you with that 5-finger forehead. Saying, girl, oh, girl, you bring him back in the forehead. He was giving you them cheekbones. I can't even find my cheekbones. But some of y'all got them gorgeous cheekbones. And you're like trying to take the cheekbones off. He's like, I created you. Every thick, every bump, every cellulite, everything on your body. When I was creating you, I was going, girl, you so fine. You so fine, you blow my mind. But yet the enemy is trying to take you out with insecurity and shame. There's some of you in this room that you literally cannot be loved because of things other people did to you. Because the enemy didn't want you to be loved appropriately. Because when you begin to be loved appropriately, something happens. When you begin to love yourself, when you begin to look in that mirror and say, God, I don't care. There's women here that are trying to have children, and you can't have no babies, and you're watching everybody around you have babies, and you're mad at all of them. They didn't do nothing to you. But the enemy's trying to set you up because chaos and confusion is not of God. Anger and bitterness is not of God. Depression is not of God. God is a God of peace. God is a God of joy. Well, you don't understand. I've been eating romaine noodles forever, a single mother, and I've been watching as my ex-husband is raising all these other kids, and he ain't doing nothing for my child, and so I'm just throwing him in jail every chance I get. I am watching him on Facebook every day of my life because every time he don't sin, I'm throwing him in jail. Well, how's that working for you? But you know what is happening? The enemy can't touch you. He can't touch children. He can't touch you. He can't touch your family. He can't touch your money. He can't touch your cars. He can't touch your bow chicka wow wow. He can't touch. But where he gets a woman is right here in the Crazyville. Every 28 days. We're watching the Sears commercial. The man's pushing a lawnmower. We're going at the Sears commercial. We're looking at our husbands wanting to punch him in the face. I don't even know why. And you're like, I can't handle my emotions. I don't know what's wrong with me. You know what? Get it together. I just feel so stuck. Well, then get unstuck. I just feel depressed. Well, get up and begin to live again. I'm afraid I'm going to die like my mother of breast cancer. No, you're not unless you want to. Because my Father says, by his stripes we are healed. I'm never going to be loved again. I'm 90 years old. And I'm so mad at God because he promised me a husband. He didn't tell you to waste all that time on Jerry. But you know the most beautiful thing about my God, y'all? It's just like he did with me. In 2006, he took everything from me, and I was singing not, he's a good, good father, every day of my life. Not my beer, but I was singing, he's a made me father. You hate me. I said, if you could put the stars and the moon into space, why can't you change my husband? He said, because you never one time asked me if that was your man. You never one time asked me. And he said, people have free will. And he said, you're walking around angry at me when rejection was not necessarily someone wanting out of your life, but somebody I needed out of your future. And I stayed in my family for so much longer than I should have, getting my behind beat. Now, he ever tried to hit me now, I'd be like, come out, Satan! But back then, I was broken. Back then, I was told I was going to hell on a slip and slide because I couldn't make this man love me, right? Because my big mouth did cause him to drink. But what happened was, because I couldn't shut my mouth because I was so broken. And then all of a sudden, I watched as sin became in our home and addiction started taking over our home. And then all of a sudden, things were happening that I was spiraling out of my control. And as I laid in that bed that night, and I said, God, you got to take this pain away from me. He said, I can't take it away. You got to give it to me. And there's some of you that are in this place tonight, and you were angry at your mother because she wasn't there for you. You're angry at your father because he did things to you that he should have never done to you. You're angry at that husband because he wasn't your father. You've been trying to make these people fill voids in your life that nobody should have to fill but God. But I look back now, laying in that bed in my mom and daddy's house, and I didn't just lose. Y'all ever notice, like, whenever you lose your family or you lose or death or you grieve or anything traumatic happens in your life, it's almost like everything goes to hell. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like you don't just lose your house, you lose your cars, you lose your friends, all those people that rode with you as long as you had gas in the car. Now you ain't got nothing. You're like, where you at? They're like, call me if you need something. I would if I could get up. But see, it's all set up from God. Because where he's taking you, he needs you to be alone. He's taken those friends away from you that were codependent on you and you were codependent on them. Those people that enabled you in your dysfunction. Because where God's taken you, see, the greatest thing about my God is you can create all these storms and you can be mad at God all you want in the rain as it's falling on your face. But when you finally stand up and say, God, I'm about to take a licking and keep on ticking. Devil, you go wish to God you would have messed with somebody else because I'm about to get myself well. And there ain't nothing like a woman, honey, that's been to hell and came out on fire. And the most beautiful thing about God is that when you get out of the way, when you finally just say, I said, God, I'll never forget laying in that bed. I said, okay, fine. If you say so. Because I am one. I was like victim in my own story. I was allowing a season of my life to define my whole lifetime, and it wasn't helping a thing. And God talks to me like that. I was crying every day, depressed, driving to work every day. My 2 sons needed a mother. And I was too busy crying in a river thinking that God was the best I ever had was what I just left behind. But one thing I learned about my God is nothing you leave behind is greater than what's about to come in your life. He's a God of more than enough. He is a God of exceedingly. He is a God that says in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans that I have for you, saith the Lord. Plans to bless you and not harm you, give you hope and a future. He says it in his word, delight yourself in me and I will give you the desires of I will give it to you. All I need you to do, I need to get you reprogrammed so many times. It's not about becoming something, it's about unbecoming what we made ourselves. It is not of God. And the most beautiful thing that I discovered about God, I'm so thankful that I got rid of my pride. I'm so thankful that I got rid of caring what people thought about me. Because God rarely uses anybody that cares what people think of them. I'm so thankful that it took him all the way. I told him at 36 years old, sitting in a little bitty old 10 by 10 bedroom because he made me move back in with my mom and daddy. I was so mad at him because I got married to run away from her. And then 17 years later, he puts my behind right back there because he said, I got to take you back to close a chapter. I got to take you back to close a chapter. There's a story. There's going to be some glory to this story. And there's nothing like walking through hell to get some oil dripping off of you. If you ain't never gone through something, you ain't got nothing to talk about. I remember laying there, man, just crying one night. I said, okay, God, I'll give you a year. And it's so funny how we do that. like the God of everything. And we're like, okay, you can have a year. And I was serious. I wasn't joking. I didn't stutter. And he laughed and said, he took 5. And I'll never forget, it was about 40 years old, and I'm thinking, dude, like, I'm gonna need somebody to help me wipe my behind when I'm old. Because, you know, we start thinking we're gonna get old by ourselves. I'm gonna be an old maid. And then I started looking around my church. Ain't nobody in here I won't. I thought about going on tinker.com, bigdaddy.com, sugar.com. And I heard God say, go ahead. You want another 5 years? I said, no. I'm already getting this stuff right here. Like, what is this? Like, what? Like when you get 40, all of a sudden you get this thing. Like, it. You know what I'm talking about? Does anybody else have that drip that looks like a flat tire? I mean, the only thing that I could think is this is good for is if you get an American flag tattooed on it for July 4th. And I said, God, I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know where he gonna come from, but on my honeymoon, he gonna have to be like. I'm gonna need you to chop. And I heard him so clearly. He said, girl, he's ready, but you ain't. That was for the neighbor. That was for Susan next door. She's a loudmouth chunky, but go get her. I said, I've been preaching, because you know what I did? I'm going to tell y'all something. I started preparing for what I was praying for. I realized that I had been tore up from the floor up. I realized that I was a loudmouth. I realized that I had problems with anybody telling me what to do and accountability. I realized that I was angry. I realized that I was bitter. I realized that I hated myself. I realized that all the church saints made me that way. And I hated hypocrites. And I had a problem with women because they cheated with my ex. And that's how we women are. We hate the woman, but don't hate the man. He said, you got to get yourself healed, Gil. He said, I need you to get to a place where you lay yourself at that altar and you go through every pain you got to feel, because it's important where I'm taking you. You're going to have to know what you're talking about, because I'm going to give you the world. And when I give you the world, you're going to love people so much that it's going to be your favorite hobby. I'm thinking, that's for Susan too. And I'll never forget it. He said, commit and don't abort the mission. And you watch what I'm going to do. I started getting preaching CDs. He said, you can't go to Bible school because you got to work. You're a single mama. I said, He said, go get preaching CDs, and on your way to work, I want you to learn how to preach. I was like, all right, I got this. I went and got me some TD Jakes. I'm driving to Bloomingdale's in my hoopty. I mean a hoopty. I went from a Mercedes to a car that blew up every day. Like, I promised to God, I was like, God, you hate me like bad. I was so bad, you are punishing me forever. I would be sitting on 75 with smoke coming out of my car, and I'd just be sitting there. I put on preaching CD. I'd hear TD Jakes, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. I push pause, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Play, God's gonna move for you. Pause, God's gonna move. I realized I was not gonna be a hooper. And I heard God say, what are you doing? Your whole life you've tried to be like somebody else. I need you to be like Kim. I need you to be an individual. I said, learn the word, not preach like, and we already got one of him, we don't need a you. And in that same season, what God was doing is he began to turn up the speed, because that's what he does. When we get out of his way, Joel 2:25 said he's going to give you back everything the devil stole. That means even the storms you created. That even means the time you spent on bozo and you knew you shouldn't have. That even means the time. I'm telling y'all, some of y'all got your husband sitting in guest room tonight. He'd been in there for like 6 months. Shame on you. You got him in the guest room just because he didn't notice your hair. But you got the power that when you walk in that house tonight, watch. He coming down to get him some water. Take up to his guest room. Because you got little Freddie sleeping between y'all, co-sleeping. You've been in his nasty college jogging pants and spit up and your hair on top of your head every day that he comes home, but you let that that Express guy come to the door and you throwing on some clothes. He doesn't feel important at all, but watch. Hey, baby, I bet my husband's watching. I'm coming home to it. When he comes downstairs tonight, I'm whispering like he's watching. All you got to do is this. He gets some water, just slide your finger across it. Just barely, like you didn't mean to do it. You got so much power in that pinky. He gonna be like, ah! Ah! Girl, he ain't gonna remember one thing. He ain't gonna remember nothing you did, because he ain't like you. Just like that, it's over. I found myself in that season, telling God I was ready. Preaching all over the world, telling everybody. You know what's so cool about God, y'all? That I've just been doing this for 2 years. I worked at Bloomingdale's as a makeup artist. Never knew how to do makeup. That's why I have these big glasses on, because if you look, my eyebrows are not on fleek. And I'm so good, I'd be doing makeup going, girl, you're so beautiful, you don't even need no makeup. You are naturally gorgeous. Because I realized by halfway into my healing, by halfway into that 5 years, I realized, man, I got to help God help me. I don't know why I'm here, but I know I wouldn't be at Bloomingdale's if it wasn't for a reason. I know that he's had me listen to preaching every day for a reason. I never dreamed in a million years that he would have me traveling all over the world, booked every single weekend, all the way through. I'm booked. I can't even believe it. I'm scared to death. I'm preaching at mega churches. I got diarrhea. And if I would let myself, I would begin to say, you're not qualified. And I try to be like Paula White or somebody else. But you notice I ain't even got a Bible up here because God said, stay you. Two years ago, I walked out of Bloomingdale's and went full-time ministry. And God said, you're going to write a book. I said, do you forget I was special ed? And I got so healed in the process of that special ed business. I don't even know how I graduated. I really don't. Except I probably told everybody, you look so good, you don't even need makeup. Because I was learning my strengths. God don't make no junk. There's a reason he made me like this. I'm going to take my inadequacies and I'm going to turn them around for good. Oh, you didn't even see me coming. You were sleeping on me. It wasn't my job to wake you up. I was over here getting ready. I was plowing. I was getting my insides better while you were sleeping. See, God he's in a season where he's not just giving you back restoration, he's giving you back restitution. For those that finally say, withholding nothing, I surrender all to you. Everything I give to you. All my pain, all my unforgiveness, I give it all to you. Every broken place, every hidden secret, I give it all to you. We hold on to it like it is salary. like we're going to win the lottery. Walking around with family secrets, protecting people that didn't even protect us. Walking around allowing people to put a price tag on us. And now we've got ourselves in the clearance rack because we don't look like somebody else. And it is time that you get yourself off that clearance rack and you begin to see that you are couture. You ain't Marshalls, baby. You ain't TD Maxx. You ain't Ross. You are Neiman Marcus. You are Saks Fifth Avenue. Finally got to that place where I was going to let God do it. Even if I was sagging all the way down, I had to pick stuff up. I was going to get out of God's way. And I'll never forget one night saying, okay, God, when you're ready to see me a husband, I'm ready. I was already preaching. I was already being put on people's flyers as relationship expert. Because God has a sense of humor. Because I am a relationship expert, I can tell you how to stay married and how to get divorced. I'm in bed one night and I said, God, I'm ready. He said, he's ready, but you ain't. I said, that was for Susan. He said, Kimberly, that mouth of yours. He said, because there's parts of you that ain't healed. And if I bring somebody into your life right now, you're going to make sure they know every day I don't need you. Act up. I dare you. Get on to my kid. He ain't yours. Taking your kid's side over your husband's side. You got to get it together, girl. And I am that girl. You will see me going down the street to this day. Come out! I lay hands on myself in 2 seconds flat. I'll be like, I don't need no bishop. I don't need no therapist, you hear me? I done spent a lot of money in them therapist office, and all I heard was, how does that make you feel? And I'm like, girl, you better tell me how that makes me feel, because you better heal my whole world, what? And God said, when you finally surrender, I'm not talking. See, the problem is you came into here, and you ain't really willing to lay it all down. Because when I was listening to that beautiful testimony of my friend that said, I was afraid that I was going to let people down because of who I used to be. The problem is we'll want to stay in the place we are because at least now we've messed up so much. We've ran 5 husbands off. So now if we walk around saying, I don't need no man, really what you're doing is you're trying to protect your heart because you have somewhere inside of you, the enemy's told you that you will always run men off. You're walking around saying, I don't want no babies, when in reality you're afraid because of that abortion, God will never give you one. And how can God heal us if we're lying to ourselves? When I walked into this place tonight, he said, if they let me, not one woman's going to walk out the same. Let me tell you why. Because we come to church every week and we're waiting for the pastor, Pastor Dean, to get up here and give us that word, tickle our feathers. We want a full-time God on a part-time relationship. We ain't getting in our word. We're not studying our word. We're not learning who Jesus is for ourselves. What does he say about us? You don't know that he says you are beautifully and wonderfully created. You don't know all of these things because you're not reading the word because you're thinking, I got stuck on thus, these, and thous, and it's like Chinese, and I don't know. And all of a sudden, we're looking horizontal instead of vertical. But I don't know what you walked in with tonight. But you hold the keys. There's a lot of women in this room tonight that are walking around with shame. Shame at yourself. Feeling like you ain't made the mark. You feel like you've let everybody down. Told yourself I'd never be like my mother, and here I am, just like my mother. thinking you're a horrible mother. Some of y'all are walking through divorce. You can't even pick your head up off the pillow. Because the enemy don't want you to get it together, because you're raising prophets, you're raising presidents, you're raising queens. And the enemy knows as long as he has you listening to the self-talk that you're telling yourself, that you will never, ever get free. And if you don't get free, your kids won't get free. But you are so important to God that he put those kids in your custody. And what God puts in your life, he provides. You might be eating romaine noodles today. Go home and put some hot dogs and some Tony Sasher in it. And you start prophesying, honey, we're going to Papados. You may be having to pay for your groceries with WIC or food stamps or welfare. You're so embarrassed, God, why am I here? This is not the way I saw my story. I was married for 28 years. I gave him my whole life, and it still wasn't enough. God, why? I got pregnant, had a baby after I tried so hard, and then the kid died 2 years later. Why do you hate me? Now you're so mad that you can't even live. Stuck in a season that you want to get out of, and you hold the keys to get yourself out. When you accept Jesus into your heart, all old things are passed away, and he's made things new in your life. When I look today at my life, y'all, just 2 years, 5 months, I look at my 2 sons that hated God, man. They needed their dad. And I would just beg them, come on, get saved. And finally God said, leave them alone and pray. And I watch them every Sunday now on that platform leading my praise and worship at my church. They had every reason to be a statistic and be drunk and drugged. But when they would walk out of that house, I would get my peppermint oil. And I'd walk up to their rooms and I'd begin to anoint everything in their room. And I'd prophesy over that room. And I'd begin to tell the devil, you better go mess with somebody else. It's time that you become not a victim, but a victor. You are not powerless. You are powerful. You cannot have faith and fear at the same time, but you are powerful. And you walked into this room tonight, which means it's a divine connection. And God wants me to tell you right now, today is your new birthday. Today. I don't care if you're 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old. I don't care. God ain't forgot about you. Honey, he brought a man into my life. What? Hallelujah. He's my bound chicken. Wow, wow. He's bald-headed, and I didn't even like bald-headed men. But now I rub that bald head like it's hubba, hubba, hubba. And what would have normally take 16 years is taken 4. What's taken 4 is taken 3. God is in the business of speeding up. God wants me to tell you tonight that if you're in this place and you say, Kimberly, I don't know who Jesus is. You got to know who he is to have that power on the inside of you. When I tell you, y'all watch what's about to happen. In 12 months, you're going to watch doors. You're going to be married next year, some of you that have been praying. There's some of you going to drop weight and you don't even know how. There's some of you that are in a job and you don't even know how. But what happened is you got out of your own way and got yourself stuck and changed your thinking and realized that you were more than enough. And if you're in this place right now and you say, Kimberly, my heart is hardened and I feel stuck, I want you to stand up on your feet. Y'all lying, but y'all better stand. And I will wait. Why am I asking you to stand? Because we walk around caring what people think about us. And the devil needs to be exposed. When we can stand up on our feet, we are saying, God, I do not have it all together, and I want you in my life. When I stand up, devil, I'm telling you, you have lost all control of me. Your days are numbered, and I'm kicking you out of my life. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to begin, if you can get out of your aisle, I want you to come up here. We got a prayer team that's going to come and pray with you. Something about getting out of your seat. I know this is uncomfortable. It stinks, don't it? Come on, y'all. Something happens. It's called walking that surrender. Get out of your seat and come on. It's like surrender. It's walking down here saying, I am standing down here with a sister that's going through the same thing I have. And the Bible says where one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. And I'm joining with some women, and we're about to take back everything the devil stole. I am tired of being depressed. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired. Here's what I want y'all to do before we pray. I want you to say it so loud. Listen, the devil's death. And I want him to hear you taking back your authority. I want him to hear that he done messed with the wrong broad. I want him to see your face. Because, honey, what I tell you what's going to happen in your life, what God is about to do in your life, all he needed was you to finally surrender. All he needed you to do was come down here and say, here I am. You watch. When you leave this place, doors are going to begin to open that you've been praying for. Because of your obedience, 1 ounce of obedience does more for you than all the prayer in the world. So I want you to repeat this. Are y'all ready? Now listen, we can't be soft. I want you to say it loud. Y'all ready? I want you to scare that woman next to you. I want you to yell like you yell at your kids. Are y'all ready? Father, forgive me for standing in your way. Father, I give you permission to wreck me from the inside out. I give you permission to get my sanity back, to get my peace back, to get my joy back, to get my sleep back, to get my money back. And I forgive every person that I've let stand in your way and take my joy. Devil, I'm taking my joy back. Now I want you to yell as loud as you can and say, Father, come into my heart and live forever. Now I want you to lift up your voice and yell as hard as you can. Hold up. It's Friday night and the feeling's right. Oh, yes, I want Tacoma, Washington to hear a party so loud in this place that they send the cops. Ain't nothing like freedom. We get so caught up in our own little box. We like walking around. I ain't gonna lift my hand very high. No, I want y'all to get crazy. I dare you to get outside that box tonight. And I dare you to act silly for God. I dare you to lift your voice and yell and scream and shout and do your booty like this, whatever you got to do to get out of your comfort zone. But when I count to 3, y'all ready? Y'all ready?